Sports Talk Live is on the air. Time for episode 4. Let's go.
Yo! Saddle up! Lock and load!
Sports Talk Live with Josh and Dan on the Notre Dame Media Crew YouTube channel.
And how we doing?
And we're back.
We are back. How we doing?
It seems like every time we come on, something bad happens.
I don't know about that, but we're here. We're breathing. We got water. We got food. We got air. You know that's what matters in the end, right?
There we
You
go.
good?
I had some issues.
Dude, I was
Yeah,
like, are
there we
you
go.
deaf or something? Okay.
No, the thing was lagging so bad.
That was really
It
bad.
was- Yeah, that was not expected. But hey,
Yikes.
that's what the NFL has to deal with.
Yeah, you want to start us off? So we're going to start with the draft,
Yeah,
right?
we're gonna start with the draft. Draft is about 48 hours away. Yeah, about. I'm getting
And
started.
we will be doing a live draft.
We're
I think
going to be
that's-
doing some sort of live coverage. Hopefully, it doesn't take till 10:30, as ESPN says. But we never know.
God.
I hope not. But okay. So let's start with the definites. The first two picks, we know what's gonna happen.
We know
Joe
the
Burrow.
order, the teams. We know
Yep.
exactly what's going on.
Joe Burrow to the Bengals, and barring something unbelievably unusual, Chase Young will go to the Redskins. And that's when things get interesting.
Yeah, with the Redskins, when you look at their roster, just everything in general with them, it almost seems they're in such dismay right now. They can't even.
Yeah.
See, there's the NFL teams that you know that are really bad. Like remember the 0-16 Browns? They were really bad, and they knew
Yes,
they were bad.
They were horrible.
But then there's those teams that are on the bubble, the 2-14. They aren't just losers. They can't work well together. Everything is just sour. I find I don't know what it is about it, but there's always those teams that they aren't, 0-16, 1-15, but they're like on that bubble of being really bad, and everything's just chaos, utter chaos. And that's what the Redskins are. They don't have, besides Dwayne Haskins really at quarterback, and then the rumors of Trent Williams being traded. Who are your big name guys? They especially losing
They
Josh
don't have
Norman. Yeah.
They don't have it. But, I'll give them this. Their D-line is going to get bumped up, though.
Yeah,
Chase,
yeah.
They're going to – but now you have to think about it. That D-line is going to become very scary. Well, that's not to put anything away from the rest of the guys on the D-line right now, but Chase Young's going to make that so much better.
Easily.
Being that edge rusher, you're going to shore up the edges of the defensive line, and and with that, it's going to be a ripple effect to the internal guys, the defensive tackles, make them better. I don't know exactly who they have on the roster right now, but
that's exactly saying it
exactly.
right there. Exactly.
But after that, especially with number 3 with Detroit, that's when things start to get interesting.
Yes. It's a toss-up there, for sure.
It's really a toss-up. But see, what I'm most interested about is, does Miami trade up?
That is the question. But here's the thing. I think they're fine with Tua because Matt Stafford, he's not like old where the Giants had to draft Daniel Jones to prepare Eli Manning because you knew he was going to retire. Matthew Stafford is not that young. Matthew Stafford, that's probably where I'm lacking. I probably should look this up. Matthew Stafford is 32. That's not bad at all.
No.
It's not bad. It starts to get a little questionable if you're hitting late 30s. But that's your guy. You've had him. You got to stick with him when he's consistent. He's on. When he's on, he's on. But if he's off, he's off. So far, I think you stick with him. A lot of guys are saying Jeff Okuda.
They're going to draft Jeff Okuda no matter what, unless the Giants decide to pick him up. But they're going to go with an offensive lineman no matter what, whether it's Derek Wills or Andrew Brown.
Tristan Wirfs, maybe.
Tristan Wirfs. But see, my question is, do the Dolphins feel the necessity to trade up? And I don't see.
No, there is no need for that.
There isn't a need for it, but I've seen some mock drafts where they're considering doing it. But it doesn't make any sense. Like, there's no one's going to take a quarterback between picks 2 and 4. If the Redskins draft a quarterback,
then
they're a mistake.
This is all. Oh yeah, that's
a huge mistake. And then the Lions pick up Chase Young. But if the Lions decide to totally just change routes on us, which obviously a lot of NFL teams lie around now, but if they switch it all up and decide to go with drafting a quarterback to possibly come up with an heir for Matt Stafford, that just throws a wrench into everything that we have been talking about coming up to this.
There's no need. I mean, maybe you talk about Detroit maybe trading up to get Chase Young possibly, but the Redskins would not.
You need a King's ransom to do that.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. And the Giants, I think they're going to stick where they are, unless somehow maybe instead of getting a quarterback, maybe they try to go with a receiver to help out Daniel Jones. But otherwise, they're probably going to go with a lineman. Some people are saying Justin Herbert there. I don't agree. I think Daniel Jones is the guy. Daniel Jones is the guy, no question. So the Dolphins have no reason to trade up. It's one of those situations where it's not guaranteed, but it is a 99.9% chance they will have a shot at Tua Tagovailoa, and there's nothing wrong with that pick. Obviously, as we mentioned, he has had injury concerns with ankle and hip injuries, significantly the hip, because no one should be having hip surgery at age 21, maybe 84. No, not 21. So that is the concern there, but maybe that's a one-time thing. So,
So here's what I'm interested in.
Some people say Justin Herbert though to the Dolphins.
Yeah, but it doesn't sound like they're going to go with Herbert anymore. But here's what I'm interested in. Do the Chargers trade up? And I think they do, because at that point, then you have
Tua for Tua,
either Tua or Herbert. At that point, you can choose, but they haven't really given any kind of sign to who they want to go to. And at the Lions trade down to 6, they're not losing Oduka, because it seems very, very obvious that Miami's going to draft a quarterback. And if you trade down to 6, pick up another pick, that's even better for Detroit. Like, you're not – for the Lions right now, they're not in any position to be competitive in the NFC North, because you have the Packers, the Vikings, and maybe the Bears. We'll see.
That's the thing. The Bears, you never know.
You just never know. If the Lions trade down, it's not something where it's going to be like a lasting effect, because you're still more than likely going to get Oduka, or you're probably going to be able to get another cornerback or a safety like Xavier McKinney or AJ Terrell. You're still going to be able to get somebody at that position that's considered a top 20 prospect.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Even if you trade down, and if you ask for maybe another pick, maybe like a second-round pick from Detroit. I don't know how many picks they have in the draft.
Let me look. Dolphins got 3 first-rounders there, so that's definitely to make some noise.
The Dolphins are going to move around a lot. I'd expect that a lot. Okay, how many did you find? Or did you find any?
Oh, they got 1 first-rounder.
Okay.
I'm not getting anything right now.
So am I going to roll through this? Okay, so Chargers are more than likely going to pick a quarterback.
It's either going to be Tua or Justin Herbert that they go with. Yeah. Because they're in the exact same positions the Dolphins are. They're just the dumpster chute, pretty much. They're going to pick whatever one goes down the dumpster, they're taking. If they do not take a quarterback, I don't know what I'm.
The only other thing that I consider them doing is going for Isaiah Simmons, because it's Anthony Lynn saying that he's all in for Tyrod Taylor.
Okay.
I'm not convinced about that.
No.
But
why would you go? No.
Yeah. Why would you go with a guy that's basically been a backup all his life behind Phillip Rivers? It just doesn't make any sense. But if you do want to shore up that's defensive secondary, I mean, why not? But even if the Chargers decide to maybe trade up, say, second round and go for a Jalen Hurts, or if Jordan Love slips, which he could, we don't know. But even at that, I mean, and then you look going after that, like the Panthers, Cardinals, both
Jags.
Jags. I mean,
Jags are in a position to maybe take, no offense to Gardner Minshew, but that guy is not a franchise quarterback. The definition of a franchise quarterback is someone that can, lead you through all the depths of the dark NFL stuff. You know what I mean? They can get you
Yeah.
through all the losing. You don't necessarily need a good offense for that franchise quarterback. You just need one that, has receivers that can catch the ball and get your yards. It's almost like how the Bears kind of were last year. You didn't see any big Allen Robinson, great receiver, don't get me wrong. But he's not like your main Odell or
Prime Odell.
DeAndre Hopkins, Prime Odell. We could go down the list. A Prime Des Bryant. I could go on and on. He's not one of those, but surrounded with the right kind of offense, especially the quarterback, that can change the game. I don't know if Gardner Minshew's that type of franchise quarterback. And for the Chargers, Tyrod Taylor isn't, and whoever the hell the Dolphins have a quarterback is probably not good. Because I know they decided to go with Jay Cutler a couple years ago, and I don't know what's going through their GM's head. I know they had Adam Gase. Adam Gase works well with Jay Cutler, but clearly not that well.
Fitzpatrick, I think Fitzpatrick finished the year out at quarterback.
Yeah. So you really have to, in this draft, especially for those teams, need to start establishing your franchise quarterbacks. Because right now, even the Bears picking up Nick Foles, not a bad pickup. Nick Foles I don't think is a guy that would want to go play for San Diego. San Diego, yeah, okay, the schedule says you have 8 home games, 8 road games. I'm sorry. The Chargers play 16 road games. They play in an awful stadium in an awful location.
Moving to SoFi is not going to do anything for you.
No. Out of all the teams in California, there's a lot of teams in California. You have it's
Rams, Chargers,
2 NFL now, 4 basketball, that's 6, 4 baseball, that's
in California
10.
For a baseball team? No, there's more. I think there's more. Wait, is there more than 4?
Oh, 5. San Diego. See, yep. San Diego, you forget about them because they're not good. That's what I mean.
And there's only one team in San Diego.
I remember the Anaheim Ducks better than I do the San Diego Padres. They've won titles, but this is what I'm saying. You got to want to be able. You're not going to bring in big free agents to go play places like those. Nick Foles lasted 1 year, not even playing a quarter of the schedule that he was supposed to there. And granted, due to injury, but these guys, you're not going to get the big free agents playing for him. I'm sorry. Somewhat we're able to pull that off. Now it comes down to you got to start establishing this guy's your quarterback. If we roll down the list, I'll give you the top 10 picks about how this franchise quarterback thing is going. Joe Burrow may be the guy in Cincinnati. He's got AJ Green, and then
that's about it.
Dude. Yeah, but still, one good receiver and quarterback deal can do a lot. Some people underestimate one duo, but that's all it takes to win a lot. So that's a viable option. The Redskins, they're in a little dismay with Dwayne Haskins. If Alex Smith can come back and be like a good veteran mentor towards – I know they were looking at Cam Newton for that because of Ron Revere, but no, Cam Newton, no. That's not – he's got too big of an ego to try and help somebody that he wants his show. Not an option there. Dwayne Haskins, you got to step him up. You got to maybe bring in a veteran, maybe like – I don't know, maybe bring Peyton Manning back for a year or two and just have him bench him, but just teach him the game. So I don't know what their situation is there if Alex can come back to teach. Lions, I don't got to say much more. They got their guy. They just got to figure everything else out. Giants, we touched on. Dolphins and Chargers, we touched on. With the Panthers, is Teddy Bridgewater your franchise-type quarterback, someone that can lead them? Besides, they are the NFC South. Teddy Bridgewater is the worst quarterback in the NFC South. And there's no argument there. Matt Ryan, Drew Brees, Tom Brady. I said it. So maybe that's like your interim guy. Maybe they get really bad this year, and then they are in a position like the Bengals are to make a big pick like that.
Yeah.
Cardinals, they're pretty much set. Jaguars, I said it. In Cleveland, Baker Mayfield's just got to get the right mindset with those guys. It's a little hostile environment right now there. But if they really, figure themselves out and they get the teamwork going, then it's a good situation for Baker.
See, what I'm interested. So for me, looking at the Jags, I mean, they're projected to take C.J. Henderson out of Florida
Okay.
So with that, I'm thinking he's the second best cornerback in the class outside of Oduka.
Okay.
And yeah, they need help on both the lines and at quarterback, clearly. But see, my question is he too good to pass up and let him slip to potentially a team that needs that kind of defensive help, like the Raiders, or even the Dolphins at 18 or the Raiders at 19? Does he slip? Because you look after that, the Browns and the Jets both expected to take linemen, and then the Raiders and the 49ers both expected to take receivers. Is it worth the risk for Jacksonville to take Henderson at that point? And I think yes. I mean, if you still have a decent quarterback available in the second round, go for him. If you're that honestly, go for a good second round quarterback if he's available, like a Jalen Hurts.
Yeah. And I think the thing with the Jaguars, I know Jalen Ramsey wanted to get the hell out of there. But if he stays and they draft C.J. Henderson, they're right back almost to where they were in the
2017 season.
Yeah, 2017 season, 18 playoffs. Yeah, they're right back there in that case because we saw what their defense was able to do. They almost beat the Patriots. They kept that that score really close. So you argue maybe do you start building up that cornerback position like you did with Jalen Ramsey? That is the main question, I think, for them. But if somehow, some way, in some insane manner, that Dolphins or Chargers do not draft a quarterback, if one of them doesn't, again, it's the trash shoot for the whatever it is for the Jaguars in that case, in my opinion. So say Dolphins don't take a quarterback. Maybe they take Isaiah Simmons. It would blow my mind if they did that. But if they did, because they are the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, I mean, you can't expect anything from them.
No, you can't. So obviously Justin Herbert or Tua goes to the Chargers and vice versa. If the Chargers don't take whatever's left of the Dolphins, going to go to the Jaguars. You're not going to rely on Gardner Minshew. I'm sorry.
No.
That's not the man of the future. It's one of those two quarterbacks. And after that, it gets a little confusing. But maybe Jalen Hurts is a move for the Jaguars. You never know. So
here's something else to consider, especially in terms of debate.
Yeah.
Who does Oakland take with their first pick? They're taking a receiver, undoubtedly.
Jerry.
But is it CeeDee Lamb, Jerry Jeudy, or Henry Ruggs? Oh. How do you choose one?
All have been surrounded by great quarterbacks.
Oh, yeah.
All have been surrounded by great quarterbacks. Ruggs and Ruggs and Jeudy obviously had the the same experience there. And
getting to play with
CeeDee Lamb having Jalen Hurts
and Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm thinking at that point it's really a coin flip because it seems like particularly with Ruggs and Lamb, Jeudy is a close third. But with Ruggs and Lamb, they're at it's hard to pick between the two of them because they're both on a very similar level. And then Ruggs is the best route runner out of all of them. He has the best speed, in my opinion, out of the three of them. But I think that overall that Lamb edges out Ruggs as the top receiver. He's ranked as the best wide receiver in his class. I don't know how they did this, but Jeudy was ranked second, and Ruggs was ranked third. They projected the Broncos to take Ruggs, Jeudy to go to San Francisco, Lamb to Oakland.
I saw that, yeah.
It's just there's a lot of different ways that one can go.
Now
and
the Raiders,
especially for San Francisco, which one do you choose after Oakland takes someone?
Yeah, they there's a couple things I'm looking at right now for San Francisco. Maybe just to stock up their defense. As a Notre Dame football fan, I see Julian Okwara on this list, and that is an excellent choice if they go with Julian Okwara. That man can pass rush like there is no tomorrow, I'm telling you. I watched every game this year for them, and he was one of their main defensive guys behind guys like Lo Gilman, Kyle Hamilton. He really, stepped up on the defensive level. He's always been really good, but a lot of their main guys left a couple years ago, so he's really been able to step up. So that's a possible pick for them. But back to the Raiders. They got 2 first-round draft picks. They have one because they were bad this year and one because of the Bears that they're getting through the Khalil Mack trade. At this point, they get the 12th and the 19th pick. Neither 3 of those receivers are going to be left by the 16th pick with Atlanta. Not that they're going to need a receiver anyways, really, for them. But it's pretty much predicted that Niners, Raiders, and Bucks are going to be able to get first dibs on those 3 receivers.
Yep.
If the Bucks get their hands on one of those 3, that is scary. That really is scary for them because you have Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski. Yeah, they're already stacked there. O.J. Howard, Rob Gronkowski, Mike Evans. They're already kind of stacked there. So
Godwin. Yeah. I'm probably going to take the lineman there. Okay, so here's something else that's interesting. If the Jaguars go with a Henderson at 9, can you see Justin Herbert falling to number 20 for Jacksonville?
We're assuming that the Chargers make a really, really dumb move.
Yeah, if they decide to stick with Tyrod Taylor, that is.
Yes, if they decide to stick with Tyrod Taylor, this is we try to have a nice sports show here, and I've watched a lot. And if there's a team like I hate the Chargers, if we got to compare that to someone hating a team, it's Stephen A. Smith hating the Cowboys.
Got that right.
This team is in such dismay. They can't. Oh man, I can't even with them. So obviously, again, we assume they make that dumb move and not take Herbert or Tagovailoa, whichever one it is. Because I went down the list, and all these guys are pretty much lined up, for their futures at quarterbacks. The Jets, Sam Darnold, if that's the future, I guess. Baker Mayfield with the Browns, yeah. Carr, obviously. Garoppolo, Brady, no question. Broncos, who is it right now? The Broncos quarterback.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, Drew Lock, right?
Drew Lock.
Yeah. But they're going to go with a receiver to help make him better. Falcons, you don't need it. Cowboys, you could use anything for that franchise.
Honestly.
So by the time you get there, does he drop to 20? Maybe.
Really, your big obstacle there is Oakland at 19.
But they have Derek Carr. That's not
even at that. Like, you have Mariota and you have Carr. Is it worth it though?
No.
It probably isn't. You don't know, but you don't know what the heck's going on in the minds of the Raiders.
John Gruden,
they're such a mess. Like, let's
they
be
make
honest.
me crazier than the Chargers.
Honestly, and even though they had a decent season, like, you don't know where they're going to go with this.
Nope.
What path they're going to decide to go on. I could see it if Herbert falls, and even if Love falls. He's expected to fall all the way down to 24 for the Saints. I don't know why the Saints would want to draft him. You got
maybe to prepare for Drew Brees, because
you still got Taysom Hill though.
But
I know
that's the thing. Some people are saying
all
that
over the place, but he's still a quarterback by trade.
But that's the question. Is he the man for the future? Do you go with a guy that's solely committed to playing quarterback like a Jordan Love in that case? Or if somehow it doesn't happen, Justin Herbert makes it all the way to 24, which would not happen, but that's if the Chargers pass up on him twice. No, Chargers pass up on him once, and Jaguars pass up on him twice.
Yeah, I don't see how the Jaguars can pass up on him twice.
Don't doubt the Jaguars, man.
That's true.
All
right, how about this? Can you see New England trading up for a quarterback?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Amen.
They have the 23rd pick. Realistically, you're maybe looking at a team that it depends what's available at that time. Obviously, you have to consider Jordan Love.
Oh, easily.
Now the question is, do they jump into 20 praying that Justin Herbert does not get taken by Chargers or Jaguars.
I think if you're the Patriots, you almost have to trade up because, in my opinion, you can't have a quarterback battle between a journeyman and Brian Hoyer and I think he's 23 or 24, pretty much a lifetime backup in Jarrett Stidham.
Yeah.
Going at it in a quarterback competition for the Patriots, that doesn't make any sense to me. If you're New England, you have to have someone that's going to try and be the successor for Tom Brady. And although that's going to be extremely hard to do after a guy that built a legacy there for 20 years, you can't trust a journeyman there. And I know like the Patriots are starting to fall down into dismay, and it's going to be an interesting battle with them in Buffalo, but you can't try and let the legacy of the Patriots and what they built in the Belichick era just fall away.
No. I think we're going to jump one because we're already hitting that topic because Danny brought up Bill Belichick.
Oh, yeah.
We'll skip that. We'll remind me what the second one is. We'll go back to it. But
yes.
You look at probably two of the craziest things that have happened in the NFL offseason. Obviously, Tom Brady, number one story, just like when LeBron went to the Lakers. That the king of football right now has moved to Tampa Bay, and he's set up for greatness right now with the team that's there, especially with Gronk being traded. We'll talk about that later. Another big move that, as one of this dude's fans, I'm still in shock. I'm happy for him that he's got a new setting. Because now that he's away from that psycho GM that clearly doesn't know what he's doing is Bill O'Brien. I still can't believe that he traded DeAndre Hopkins. I get maybe if you trade him, but this is what he traded him for a second-round pick. That's it. I think it was a second-round pick. How do you trade him for just a second-round pick? The Texans have I'm looking right now. They have
oh my Lord.
Okay, they don't have any first-round picks, but Arizona's got the 8th. They could have replaced them. They could have picked up like Judy or Lamb or Ruggs. They could have picked up one of the three.
Why do you
if they traded with Arizona?
Why do you even trade Hopkins in the first place?
Yes, that's what I'm wondering. But what really crosses my mind is how do you not plan for the future about getting another receiver?
What the heck is David Johnson?
Oh, he used to be really good, actually.
Yeah, but he did not prove anything with Arizona.
No, he's not what he used to be. He's not at all what he used to be.
Bill O'Brien extremely overvalued him.
Yes.
By trading him for a future Hall of Famer.
DeAndre Hopkins has a lot of live videos, and I kind of want him on this show, and I want to ask him what was going through your mind when you got traded.
I mean, no relationship with Bill O'Brien probably doesn't give you anything.
So, obviously, Belichick and O'Brien, they run those two organizations pretty much. Let's be honest here. So, we need to answer the question, who is under more pressure? Who's under more pressure, Bill O'Brien or Bill Belichick? In my opinion, if we're talking just for the season or for a job, you got to go Bill O'Brien. He traded away the best receiver in football with a very, very, very good quarterback, an MVP caliber quarterback that could really take that team even farther. They were up 24-0 on the Chiefs and allowed 41 straight points. Granted, that's the defense's fault, but still, if you go up, I was watching that game. Hopkins was having a great game in the beginning, and so was Watson. So that's not Hopkins' fault. So I don't know why you trade him for that. So in terms of season to season, I think you really look at Bill O'Brien being on the hot seat because now he's got to come up with someone to replace Hopkins. The fact that he did not get a first-round pick from the Cardinals with the number 8 pick with a chance to take Judy, Ruggs, or Lamb to replace him at receiver completely baffles me. So season to I always say that. But season to season, I think, is Bill O'Brien. But if we're talking long-term, Belichick has a legacy to live up to. He has made history. He has changed the NFL. He has to live up to that. If Brady goes down to Tampa Bay and has a fantastic season, leads them to the NFC title game, but they lose to the Bears. Hopefully that's the case. If they get that far, that's still very successful. If Belichick does not have a move to get a quarterback, and I think it's Dorsett that's their backup, or Hoyer, one of the two. If he ends up starting one of those two, and they don't even make the playoffs, and Brady gets deep into the playoffs, it's going to show that Belichick's on the hot seat, because it's going to say Brady was the one all along that was making them work together well. It was Brady. It was Brady. That's what it's going to say. But if Brady goes down to Tampa Bay and can't succeed with Gronk, Evans, O.J. Howard, I could go on and on and on, Godwin, if they don't succeed down there and Bill Belichick somehow makes it to, I don't know, even the divisional round in the playoffs with one of those two quarterbacks, Dorsett or Hoyer, then it's going to say Belichick's the best. But that's not guaranteed. So, Danny, I want to get your take on this. Who do you think is under more pressure right now, O'Brien or Belichick?
Belichick, easily. We already know the reputation of Bill O'Brien. He's taking the Texans.
He's the Jerry Krause of the Texans.
Oh, you got that right. I mean, you look at Belichick and the success he had with Tom Brady for 20 years, it's hard to pinpoint whether it was Belichick or Brady. Now, Brady obviously was making the plays, but Belichick was calling the plays, and Brady executed said plays.
Yes.
So I think what we're really interested to see in is Belichick going to be able to work with one of these quarterbacks in Hoyer or whoever is it? No, it's not Brissett. Dorsett. Thank you. And Brady, you look at he's got Godwin, he's got Evans. We'll see how much Gronkowski gives.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got a lot of the weapons that he had during the prime years in New England.
Yeah.
Now, granted, he's 41 years old, but he was also in his mid-30s when like things really started to get going, and they made it to the Super Bowl like 3 years in a row.
Keep going. I just got to get some.
Oh, okay. So you think about it, there's a lot that is dependent on Belichick, because Brady really is going to be running the show in Tampa. I don't care what Bruce Arians says. He's going to be running the show. No. It's not his show. Nope. It's going to be the Brady show. So if Belichick can prove that it wasn't Brady that was the success, it was Belichick, and he was the one that was executing it all.
Yeah.
I mean, there you go. It was Belichick all along. But I think it also, if both of them have success, then you really don't know. But it's got to be one of them falls off to really determine which it is.
Yeah, honestly, in that case, right now, Brady's probably looking like your favorite in that case, just because he's surrounded by a good team with an experienced coach that has been deep in the playoffs before, which I think is a very important part. If he was stuck with Bill O'Brien or the Chargers coach. See, I don't even know the Chargers coach name because he's not good enough to know. But if he was stuck with a coach like that, then you have a problem, because you're gonna have Brady, starting to call the shots, because he's gonna probably be like, "Hey, I've been this far. I know how we do this. So you just follow my lead, and I'll kind of run this show." But down there, I think it's a great mix together. I think Brady is set up for some success this year, and it's going to be great competition in the NFC South. As for Belichick, it's kind of going to, it's going to be the waiting game for him. If he has a 10-6, 11-5 season, I'm not going to say Brady's gone, he was the reason they were good, yada, yada, yada. Because 11-5, 10-6 is not bad.
No.
So I think we really have to see a drop-off. We need a 4-12 or a 5-11 to really judge if Brady was the reason that they were so successful. But as for Bill O'Brien, he's under pressure for sure. His job is, but his legacy isn't, just because he doesn't
have one.
Hasn't had one. No, he doesn't have one. So
his legacy is how bad he is.
Yeah, he can live up to that. If he decides to trade Deshaun Watson to the Bears for Mitch Trubisky, I'd be very happy.
I'll take that.
All day, man. But that's the thing. So O'Brien's job, both their jobs are on the line, but it's more or less about legacy when it comes to that point. So
Yeah.
I think
I
we
think
both have to
yeah.
go Brady or Belichick. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you got that right. Bob's got his job's more on the line than Belichick's is, but I mean, it would have to take, in my opinion, it would have to take a lot for the GM and the head coach to get fired. But
Yep. Well,
you never know
you're,
what
you're
can
about to
happen.
watch it with the Chicago Bulls, so it didn't take much for that.
We'll get into that in a minute.
Just 2 or 3 seasons of losing. It all started when Bobby Portis punched Nikola Mirotic. That's when you really start to see things tank. That's when
Got
it
that right.
really went down. Because they weren't. Remember they started. Oh, they started the season off because Mirotic's face was bad. They started off the season. I think it was like 2-15, and then they won. They won. I don't know what it was. I think they won like 13 of 15 or something.
Yeah, they went on
And
a tear.
yeah, Mirotic was absolutely tearing it up. And I don't know what in the mind was going on with Gar Forman and John Paxson. They traded him to the Pelicans. Now you think who you're getting. Are you going to get Drew Holiday? No, you don't get Drew Holiday. Did they pick up Anthony Davis? Certainly not. If they traded enough pieces, they could pick up Anthony Davis, but they didn't. That's another time, though. That is another time for discussion. But we are going to keep with the Bulls. The Last Dance, it premiered last Sunday, episodes 1 and 2 at 8 p.m. And I was blown away. I was blown away.
It was spectacular.
I never realized. I thought the legacy. Okay, before I saw the documentary, I thought it all ended because they just went their separate ways. Jordan wanted to retire. Pippen found a new place to go. Jackson needed a new place. Like their contracts ended. They all had happy endings, and they went their separate ways. Wrong.
We were dead wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
was wow.
It was amazing to watch, and we can agree that the majority of this is going to be about Krause, kind of screwing the Bulls over.
Yup.
But we got a really good insight of what Michael's career started, how that all started, and we all knew he didn't make his varsity team his first few years. Finally made it junior year, and we finally got to hear from coaches and teammates, and we got to hear from his college coaches and college teammates about how he hit the game-winning shot his freshman year to win it all, and that they say that just absolutely just sent him off. And there's quotes going around that no one ever heard that it's just speaking, it's praising Michael Jordan. I think it was Larry Bird or somebody that said it's God disguised as Michael Jordan or something like that. And then Roy Williams mentioned that no one could turn it on like he could. He could turn it on whenever he wanted. He could turn it off whenever he wanted. The dude was absolutely insane. And you're hearing from all these guys speaking so great about him. And it just made me realize how much greater he is than LeBron, in my opinion.
Yeah, and we definitely saw it on Sunday, just how much that legacy was. But I think what really stood out is how MJ he really just put emphasis on Scottie, on Pippen, saying, if I wouldn't be Michael Jordan if I didn't have Scottie Pippen. I'm thinking,
yeah.
And I thought all these years that MJ was a one-man show. Like, I knew about Scottie Pippen. I knew that Scottie Pippen was one of the cornerstones of the Bulls franchise. He was no Michael Jordan, but I knew that Scottie Pippen was a main contributor. But I didn't think that Jordan had that much leniency. Like, I wouldn't say leniency. I would say, like, worked as a 1-2 tandem with him. Like, that was I really did not expect that.
The thing with them is, when you have a star player like that, you need someone that is always going to back them up and, kind of do the dirty work. Scottie Pippen did that. Scottie Pippen was one of the best defensive players of all time. You could definitely consider it. And he got in your face. The famous Patrick Ewing, where he dunked on Ewing, that says it all, where, he pushed him down and was staring him down. Those two were a wrecking crew. And then you bring the third head of the three-headed monster, Dennis Rodman.
Oh
So
my
you
goodness.
have, with those three, with Michael Jordan, you have talent and glory and everything anyone dreams of being in a basketball player is him. You have Scottie Pippen, a defensive monster, a scorer at will. The dude was 6'8", I believe. So he was kind of maybe your Kevin Durant back then. Because, nowadays you have the conversation who's better, Kevin Durant or LeBron. You didn't have to have that conversation back then because they were on the same team, basically.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, both scorers, both great defenders. Scottie Pippen, there was, I think in the 97 season, if I saw it right on the TV, he was number 2 in scoring. I think we all know behind who. Yeah, he was number 1 in assists, number 1 in rebounds, number 1 in steals, number 1 in a ton of other stuff, but he was 126th in salary. And I will say it was 7 years, $18 million. Hockey contracts are brutal. The salary cap in hockey is awful, but that is just god awful for basketball, especially 7 years, $18 million. I don't get
That's
it.
horrid.
Yeah. So you have that under his skin too. So he's playing his butt off to prove, to maybe get more money. And then Dennis Rodman comes along. Now you absolutely put together the best defensive team out there with Dennis Rodman. You have somebody that will dive and onto fans for the ball. He will push guys over for the ball. And he was your personality. He was your Draymond Green back then. And by the way, Draymond Green considers himself to be the greatest defender of all time. You know what Dennis Rodman had to say about that?
No, sir.
Dennis Rodman goes, I respect him. He is a great and fantastic defender, but I'd have that man eaten out of my hands. You don't mess with Dennis Rodman. I'm sorry. Like, even today, you don't.
No, you cannot mess with that man.
No, that was a big three-headed monster. And with the documentary, we saw that, especially with Scottie Pippen's, he didn't like Krause, and he refused to have he had the surgery towards the
Purposely.
start of this, to sit out and maybe be like, hey, pay me the big bucks because I'm worth it. And so he sat out, and Jordan was kind of like, I don't remember if he was pissed about it, but I think he was definitely kind of like, if he got it. Do you remember what Jordan said about it?
I don't think it.
I don't think he was
All I
mad.
remember, all I remember with that segment of it is Phil Jackson saying that they're gonna pull through it, and
Yeah.
I do remember some of the film that they showed in that area where Jordan was starting to pick up a lot more of it, and when we started, if I remember this correctly, we started seeing more of the bench guys come in, picking up more of the slack, and trying to, put their smaller pieces together and make up Scottie Pippen and a bunch of different guys. And I mean, they did decent with it. I mean, and it was obvious. I mean, it resulted in them getting back to the playoffs, not how they anticipated on returning to the
But
playoffs.
once you're there, it's a whole new ball game.
Right.
Literally. So we got to see an inside of that, but we also, I didn't realize Scottie Pippen hated Jerry Krause that much. Like, they would
No.
mock he would mock him in open crowds and stuff
You're
in front
sure.
of the team. Yeah. I think Michael's like, you want to play one-on-one with us? You want to warm up, make some layups? And Krause, I think, was like, yep. And then Jordan's like, okay, man, we gotta lower those hoops.
Yeah, lower the
And,
nets.
and then I think like Pippen, I think saw him taking pills. He's like, are those short pills or something? Like, they were and they would give
remember
credit
that one.
too. So I think the Bulls have been plagued with bad management because before Krause got there, it was really bad. Jordan walked into his hotel room and saw a lot of things that he probably shouldn't have seen, and he turned those guys into basketball players. Because the first year before Krause got there was Jordan's first year, and you took him to the playoffs. They lost, but he still got him there. And then Krause's first year, they competed. He dropped 63 and 50 something against the Celtics. They still lost, but still, Larry Bird says that is the greatest he's ever seen someone perform in the playoffs. So with Krause, he got the guys together, but his ego, he was so
His ego overtook him as a person, and it just brought the team down with it.
yeah, he was mad that Phil Jackson, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman were getting the attention. Of course they deserve the attention. Are you telling me they don't? And he would say that organizations win championships, not players. And
Oh, I
then he
remember that line.
corrected himself and he said, he said something, I think like they can't do it without us or whatever. Still, they're the ones going out on the court.
Whoa,
I'd like to see that guy go out on the court and try and compete against John Stockton and Karl Malone in the 1998 NBA Finals.
good luck.
I really would like to see that. Organizations do win championships. Players and coaches do win championships. And most importantly, fans win championships.
Amen.
Amen. So I don't know what Krause was thinking. I don't know what Krause was on. But it really started when he told Phil Jackson, this is it for you. You get your 1-year deal, and then you're out of here. And Jackson told the guys, he said, this is what's happening. It's like you're being sentenced to death practically.
Yeah,
Now,
that's
granted,
what it
Phil
seemed.
Jackson went on to do really great things with the Lakers and then screwed the Knicks over, but that's another conversation for another time. But it was the end of an era. Maybe not for Jackson because his legacy continued, but for the Bulls, he told them, it's like at that sense, he said, this is it. We got to make the most of it while we still have it, because those three broke up after that season. So imagine, I can't even imagine, being on that team and being told, hey, GM doesn't want me here, so we got to leave. We got to make the most of it. And that really motivated them.
Yeah.
But here's the question. Jerry Reinsdorf is way ahead of Jerry Krause. And he's just sitting up there watching this. What's your take?
Why didn't Jerry Reinsdorf do anything? That's the real question. He sees all this going on. He realizes that Krause is telling Jackson that he's not coming back, and Jerry Reinsdorf's got to be thinking, in some part of his intellectual brain, what the heck is going on with my team?
Because the players themselves, I don't know if Dennis Rodman was going to come back or not. He's just one of those guys I think that's a little iffy. But Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan, you could have kept together. If you fire Krause, if Jerry Reinsdorf fires Krause because he hears about this, maybe it stays, and maybe they win a couple. Maybe we actually get to see a Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant NBA Finals. Because it was only 2 years later that the Lakers won. Because I think the Spurs defeated them in '99. Spurs went on to win it. But you get to see the guys of our generation that made basketball great against the greatest of all time. And Scotty, imagine seeing a Tim Duncan and I think Tony Parker might have been around. Tony Parker was around. David Robinson might have been. But imagine that finals versus Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. Imagine a Shaq and a Kobe finals versus Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. I don't know if it goes that long into it. Maybe that tandem only lasts till 01, 02. But still, you make the most of it. Winning a championship is winning a championship. Why would you want to break that apart? That's my question. I don't know. But
I don't know what's going on in Jerry Krause's head.
And then
we'll never know.
We won't know. Let me see who is next after Krause. Because it might have been.
I think it was Gar.
That's weird. Wikipedia has it that Gar Forman was born January 1st, 2000. Yeah, because he certainly has the GM mind of an 18-year-old right now.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's for sure. I don't know why it says that.
I think that was when he was brought in as GM.
He worked in the Bulls front office from 1998 to 2020.
Here, I'll look too.
GM is in 09. He got it in 09. And it baffles me, but this man won the 2011 Executive of the Year award along with Pat Riley.
You've got to be kidding me. How is that even possible?
I I really don't know. But,
The
I
NBA is
mean,
a weird thing.
I kind of understand why. He was able to build a basketball team not around Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Kevin Durant. He didn't do that. He built a championship caliber team made up of Derrick Rose, obviously, Keith Bogans, Joakim Noah, Carlos Boozer, Luol Deng. Well, Luol Deng was already there. But he worked in the front office from '98, so he had a hand in every one of those guys going there. The earliest Bull back to date is Luol Deng that was on that roster. I think he was drafted in '03. So you talk about all the guys he put together, not any big names besides Derrick Rose and Joakim Noah by any means, but he was able to build a championship caliber team. And obviously, that was Tom Thibodeau's first year coaching. So you had MVP, most valuable player award, Derrick Rose, Coach of the Year, Tom Thibodeau, and Executive of the Year, Gar Forman. The Bulls were highly talented front office and coaching and play. They were they were talented on all levels with those guys. It's unbelievable that he won Executive of the Year because you wouldn't
When you
imagine
really
him
think
making
about
the
it,
yeah. And I started to think about it, and I thought when he brought in Gasol and Dunleavy, and he brought Heinrich back, I thought, oh, maybe they got a bit of a chance. Maybe they do, because Butler was starting to develop, and he did draft Jimmy Butler. So then you start to question, was it the players? But then you look at the decisions lately, and there was no question it was him. So, yeah, that's the case with him. So what we're trying to say is that this documentary is opening the fact that the Bulls never had a good front office. Jerry Krause made the right decisions. That's the thing. But he didn't draft Michael Jordan. That's why he didn't touch Michael Jordan. He let Michael be his own thing. But he drafted Scottie. He brought in Dennis. He took out Charles Oakley. He brought in Wennington. He brought in all those guys. He brought in Paxson. He brought in Kerr. He brought in all of it. He wanted to control it all. He wanted to get rid of...
the ego just overtook him.
Yeah, because Jordan wasn't part of Krause because that was a whole other thing that he got drafted by the Bulls, different GM. But the biggest thing that Krause ever did was bring in Scottie Pippen. I mean, who would have thought to draft a guy out of Central Arkansas? Let's be honest. So obviously he's going to take away the show just because he's talented. And this guy gets all jealous. He reminds me of Napoleon, for crying out loud, this Krause guy. Let's be honest here.
Hello.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Short, fat, and ugly.
Yeah. And mean. So.
Yes.
Yeah. He got jealous because the best thing he ever did was becoming more popular. By all means, it's great that happened. I don't know why he gets upset about that. But you know what? Everyone else went on to do great things. Jordan, Rodman, Pippen, Kerr, most likely is going to be those three are Hall of Famers. Kerr is going to be one. Jackson, I mean, I can't wait to watch that sermon. I just can't wait. So it's like those guys earned it. They're in the Hall of Fame, and you tried to shut them down because you just had a little bit of an ego problem back.
And let's continue.
Man, Jerry Krause really has me. Yeah, I have the quote right here, actually. I have the quote. Krause is widely quoted saying, and I quote, "Players and coaches don't win championships. Organizations win championships." This statement particularly offended Michael Jordan. However, Krause said that his original phrasing was players and coaches alone don't win championships. Organizations win championships. He's bluffing.
Lord help his soul.
He's bluffing. And then
right.
Just as a joke, I think we can make here, I think his bad GMing towards the end had an effect on Phil Jackson's GMing in New York.
Oh, undoubtedly.
Krause also remarked that when Jackson became the president of the New York Knicks, that Phil didn't take the job because he thought he had a playoff club. He took the job for the money.
That's classic Jerry Krause. Ego's too big for him.
Let's move on before my head explodes, please.
All right. You remember our fourth topic, right? Because I don't have it handy.
The Kevin Durant, LeBron James comment.
Yeah, you can start that one.
So it was a first take topic today. Kevin Durant, after watching this, The Last Dance, he said that if Michael Jordan was playing in today's NBA, so
The
if that
shutdown
case,
NBA because of the coronavirus.
yeah.
Yeah, no one's playing right now. Look at you, Kevin Durant.
Kevin Durant wouldn't be playing right now, even if it was for the coronavirus.
Exactly. Wait. Oh.
Yeah, I went there. Yeah, I just went there.
Oh. Okay. Well,
So Kevin Durant said that if Michael Jordan was playing in today's NBA, he would dominate and he'd be the greatest. Some people, the argument has been made that that is offensive to LeBron James because with every decade, the game elevates. So, for example, in the 70s, Bill Russell and Julius Erving, they were the guys, that were taking over the NBA. But when the 80s came around, Larry Bird and Magic Johnson, they grew up watching those guys. So they wanted to be just as good, if not better, and they elevated the game. So you had, Russell and all those guys here, and Irving here, and then you had Bird and Magic. But then you had the Jordans and the Pippins and the Rodmans who wanted to absolutely obliterate any team in their way. From Bird, you had those guys, and then you had the Kobes, and now you have the LeBrons, and now you have the Giannis's. So it keeps elevating. So some people say that it takes offense to LeBron for what he's done for the game. I don't necessarily agree that it's offending him. It's just saying that, first of all, the game is way softer now. Let's be honest here. Jordan was making
yes.
the moves that Steph Curry does, all those flip-up layups. Yeah, let's be aware that we were in awe about Steph Curry getting a little bump on the shoulder and then doing a no-look reverse layup. That's fancy. Jordan was doing that while getting hammered by the bad boy Pistons on the court. It's a totally different NBA. I believe the NBA started to change when the Warriors did their thing because three-point shooting was everything.
Yeah.
And you had to adapt your game to compete with them. It's a way different NBA. And with the less amount of defense being played and all the three-point shooting and everything, Jordan would clearly dominate this game. It was an attack mentality. If you give him a little bit of room, he's going to make the most of it and probably score on you. One of the greatest scorers. And if he's playing in today's game, you assume he's got Scottie Pippen. You assume he's got Rodman and Kukoc. It's dangerous. So I don't think it's offense to LeBron. It's just saying that we are once again establishing Jordan as the GOAT. And we're just saying that this is he would dominate in this decade, just with the way everything's being played. You want to talk about that?
You said it. You probably said it better than I would have. I kind of think that in a sense it's offensive. It could draw offense to LeBron because almost every argument you can make says LeBron has done more physically for himself, putting up his own stats, and what he's done for the game as well than Kevin Durant has. Now, that doesn't draw away from anything Kevin Durant has done. He's had an extremely good career.
Oh, sure.
I mean, he's had a great career. Yeah, he's going to go to the Hall of Fame, but LeBron overshadows him. Like, let's be honest. LeBron overshadows him. LeBron, if I want to put this lightly, LeBron owns the 2010s. Okay?
Oh, he does. That's
he owns the 2010s. Now, for Durant to say that, and even though LeBron is nearing the end of his career, maybe in 3-4 years, we'll see. Obviously, he wants to play with Bronny, but it doesn't make sense for Kevin Durant to take those kind of shots, especially if he knows that LeBron James has done more than he has with what he built in Miami and what he was able to do with Cleveland, taking them to face Golden State in the finals 4 years in a row. Granted, you only won one championship, but you still made it to the NBA finals 4 years in a row. I thought it was 4 years in a row.
Which player are we talking about?
The Cavs. I was talking about the Cavs.
I thought you were talking about Durant for a second. I don't know.
No,
I
I
bet.
switched over to LeBron.
Okay.
Anyway, so what LeBron built in Miami took them to the finals a couple of times,
All
twice,
four.
right?
4 for 4.
for
Getting there.
four.
Getting there.
And then to Cleveland, 4 years in a row, facing Golden State. That's 8 straight seasons. He took his team to the NBA Finals.
Mm-hmm.
Durant can't say the same.
But granted, for Durant, the East for a decade, maybe even more, even when they had Carmelo Anthony, even when they had MVP Derrick Rose and LeBron, the West would dominate. The West dominates. I always see the West as the superior conference, and it only is proving me more even now that they are the superior conference. If you look at it now, if you were to do an East versus West game again, All-Star format, the West would once again win by 100. That's just how it goes. So Durant has not had it as easy in that case. First of all, I'm talking 2010 to what would it be? 2016, right before the 16-17 season.
Yep.
73-9 Warriors. He had them in the way. He had a Spurs team that with Kawhi Leonard, Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, Tyro Splitter, Boris Diaw, Patty Mills. When those guys were together, that was an unstoppable team. And you can't forget the Clippers with Blake Griffin, Paul, and Jordan. So the West was always pretty, they had a lot of star power. Kobe with the Lakers, Dirk on the Mavs, the Rockets having James Harden. There were and when Kevin Love was on Minnesota, and Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum, I could keep coming up with things. When Tyreek Evans was in Sacramento, there was firepower everywhere you went. There just was. With the East, every year for the Heat,
Didn't necessarily have that.
every year for the Heat, it was pretty much a breeze to get to the finals. I mean, your main guys in the way. Once the big three, or the big four, I should say, in Boston, once they split up, because I think it first started with Rajon Rondo in like 2012. Then Ray Allen left to go to Miami, and then Garnett and Pierce got traded to Brooklyn. Once that happened, the Boston was out of the conversation. Boston hasn't been in the conversation since the Isaiah Thomas era, which took like 5 years to get to. So Boston was out of the conversation. Brooklyn, even with those two, still awful. Not a good staff there. The chemistry just was not good there. Washington, even with Beal and Wall, wasn't anything special. So with LeBron with the Heat, there was no competition to live up to them except the Bulls when they were good. See, here's the thing. The Heat had it the year the Heat won their first championship, Derrick Rose went down. And so did the number 1 seeded Bulls, who were thought to be better than they were the year before. And they could compete with this Miami team because they brought in Rip Hamilton. That was their main offseason acquisition. So when that team goes down, who is in your way? A Paul George-led Pacers. Not a bad team. They went to the Eastern Conference Finals with them. I mean, who they got? Roy Hibbert, Danny Granger, Paul George, George Hill, Rodney Stuckey. That's not a great team. The big three of Miami could easily find a guy, match up, and shut him down the rest of the game. I don't even know how much more thinking I need to do because it's all said and done right there. There was no competition for that Miami team. It was pretty easy to get to the finals every year. Even, I know they went up against a really good Celtics team, maybe when the Big Four were still together in an Eastern Conference Finals. I want to say either the 2012 or 2013 Finals, Eastern Conference Finals. They went up against a Big Four Celtics team or a good Pacers team. New York, even with Carmelo, New York is plagued. There was no competition for LeBron with Miami. So you make the argument that, Kevin Durant maybe is allowed to make that argument. And he did go 2 for 4 with Miami, if you want to. And then Cleveland, I mean, it was harder for him, but there was probably still not as much competition. I would have liked to seen a Kawhi Leonard Raptors team go up against the LeBron Cavs team, but we didn't get to see that. I think that would have been interesting. But there was never too much competition for LeBron. If you look at it now, there's so much competition
Oh yeah,
down the line, 1 through 8, really. So you kind of understand why Kevin Durant's allowed to make that argument. So
oh my goodness, I keep slipping.
but Jordan definitely would do very well in today's NBA. He would succeed very well
Agreed.
because you assume the game adapts the way it does. So if it's the soft NBA as we know it right now, Jordan would absolutely wreck it.
Yeah, he'd probably put up another dynasty for whoever team he played for, probably the Bulls, but you never know because of Jerry Krause. But
Yeah.
hey, you really don't know.
So I don't think it's really taking shots. I think it's just calling it like it is and actually being logical, you know. What's our last? Oh,
Oh yeah. All right,
uh,
so I found a little tidbit on the Dan Bernstein show yesterday, and I thought it, and I thought I'd play it, and we'd weigh in on just how insane this is. So let me see. Let me make sure I can pull it up.
Okay, picture the way you hold your hamburger. Whatever you may have on it, thumb underneath and the other 4 fingers on top. Well, it turns out that is wrong because that is causing all the problems that you may have, where you bite and then the filling starts to fall out and sauce is dripping down your chin. There have been a group of researchers, this according to the Daily Mirror, a group of researchers specializing in fluid mechanics engineering and dentistry are now saying there is an objective, correct way to eat your burger to maximize the experience, to minimize spillage, to get the best and most consistent bites. And they say what's been happening is when you bite down, the way we're holding it with the thumbs on the bottom and it gets the some of the floppy edges right there. And they did this with actual computer modeling. They scanned all these things in and they ran various tests. And they said people, first of all, are holding their burger too tight. And it's subconsciously in the hope that the harder you squeeze it, the higher the chance of keeping it together. Well, that has the opposite effect, apparently. So now, what they are saying, first of all, before you take your first bite of your burger, and burger sales are off the charts, by the way. We know that everybody's ordering burgers. So this is a really important time for this. So before you take your first bite, the dentist involved says open your mouth wide and close it again to actually warm up the muscles. And here is the proper grip. If you know baseball, if you can picture the Tom Glavine or Mark Burley changeup grip, where the ball is back in the palm of the hand with 3 fingers draped over the top, and the thumb and the pinky serving as sort of a resting place. If you make a cup out of your thumb and pinky, and the ball sits on top of that, the 3 fingers are draped over. So do that with both hands. And if you have your 3 fingers from each hand on the top of the burger, thumb and pinky underneath the burger, that is how it is said. That is the best way. Don't grip too hard. Just arrange your hands thusly, and that will be the perfectly optimized burger eating experience. And never let it be said that this segment is not all things to all people, because I guarantee you, now that you've heard that, you're going to try it.
Well, I'll tell you this, 3 things. One, I'm doing this as we were talking about it. It's almost like I'm watching an instructional video as you're telling me how to do it. Mm-hmm. My wife walked by and looked at me like, what the hell are you doing? And I'm like, well, there seems to be some validity to that. Number 2, did the government actually subsidize this study? And number 3, we've obviously eating a lot of things wrong, because I remember when somebody wrote a story about how we're eating a banana wrong, because if you watch monkeys, they open a banana and start at the opposite end, which makes it actually easier to eat the banana than the way we do as humans.
This was actually done, this was commissioned by a Japanese television show. So it is not a taxpayer-funded study, so you don't have to worry about misspent money in that regard. But now that's it. We're getting burgers because now I'm hungry.
Okay.
First of all, if he took almost 4 full minutes to really elaborate on that, like, I get we're running out of things to do. We've at least made an educated sports show. If he's really taking 4 minutes to talk about how to hold a hamburger, you gotta feel bad for the guy.
I mean, he's
got a point. He's got a point.
3-hour radio show. I mean, we're all running out of stuff to do at this point. But
Yeah.
whoa, okay.
Woo.
But now that I think about it, like, who holds a hamburger like that? Like, I can eat it
I'm
with
gonna
one
start
hand.
doing that.
I'm thinking about doing it now. I only use one hand, and I'm like,
Ugh.
I only use one hand because it just. My question is, like you're right. How did someone elaborate on that for 3.5 minutes?
Yeah,
It just
I mean,
doesn't make any sense.
that's what scares me. Is like, what's going through his head if he's trying to figure out how to hold a hamburger. Right?
And my question is, why would even that Japanese news station want to know that anyway? Like, what does it matter if someone eats something a way that you don't think you should be eating it? Like, who cares if something falls on the plate? Just, oh my God. If you can't tell, we're going insane.
Yeah, we are.
It's okay though.
You want to know one more fun fact about Last Dance?
Hit me.
So, Jackson actually, I think Krause made him so mad that after he left after the 97-98 season, he vowed to himself he's never coaching again. He says he's not going to do it. But he took a year off and he decided to coach with the Lakers. And his longtime friend Tex Winter, who helped him develop the triangle offense, he stayed with the Bulls another year after leaving the organization in the summer of '99 when Phil Jackson was hired. So they actually kept the guy that made the triangle offense. They actually kept him one more year. Krause didn't go to Jordan's attendance for the Hall of Fame. He wouldn't attend.
He didn't invite Phil Jackson to his wedding. I know that.
Yeah, he invited like everybody to his wedding.
But Phil Jackson.
So, yeah, but you're really dumb to tell that to Phil Jackson when he decides to take a year off and then he goes on another three-peat.
I'm sure his hands hurt from all the rings.
And he has 11 titles.
He can't even fit them all on his hands.
Six Bulls, 5 Lakers.
He's got to fit them on his toes.
You think about it, and I honestly was wondering what's going through Jerry Krause's head, because here's Phil Jackson's coaching career. Let me pull it up really quickly. I want to make sure I get this right.
How is this man not in the Hall of Fame yet?
His first actual coaching job from 1982 to 1987 was with Albany Patroons. They're in the basketball league, the TBL. So it's I don't know what it is, but it's not the NBA.
It's an independent league.
Kinda. So he was actually an assistant with New Jersey Nets, now the Brooklyn Nets, before Albany, and then after Albany, he came and was an assistant for the Bulls. So his first coaching job in the NBA, he won 3 straight finals, and then didn't go to the Eastern Conference Finals in '94, if I'm correct. Lost the Eastern Conference Finals in '95. Three-peat, took a year off. Three-peat, made it to the '03 Finals. No, didn't. Lost to the Spurs, I think. Then they lost to the Pistons somehow in '04 with Rip Hamilton and Chauncey Billups, which is unbelievable. And then 05, the Spurs made it, beat the Cavs. 06 was Miami, but they played the Spurs, I'm pretty sure. 07 was Spurs. So he didn't from 03 and then 05 all the way through 08. They didn't go. The 08 title was let me think. Oh, 08 was Boston. Oh no. So he did go in 08. My mistake. So you talk about 3 straight finals appearances. It always came in threes with Phil, except for,
the
it
draft.
actually did. It actually did. 3
Wait.
times a charm with Phil Jackson. Yeah. Yeah.
Look at that.
So, actually, no. Oh, I just saw something.
You like to contradict yourself.
Yeah. So he actually didn't coach the Lakers for the 04-05 season. Let me see why. I'm trying to find out why. Yeah. So 3 days after they lost to the Pistons in the finals, Lakers announced that Jackson would leave his position as Lakers coach. So he had an offer outstanding from the Lakers, but he didn't act on it. So he left, and then he comes back. The dude's one of, if not the greatest coach the game has ever seen. So for Jerry Krause to see, hey, this man took me on 2 3-peats, went 6 for 6, and then you have to watch him go somewhere else, go to 3 straight finals, win, go to 1, have a tough loss, and then go to 3 straight later on and win the second 2, and then win the latter 2 of the 3. So I don't know.
Who knows?
I can't wait for episodes 3 and 4. That is for sure.
That's gonna be fun.
Yes.
All right.
So, you good?
My cheekbones hurt.
My head hurts. I've had headphones a lot today, so
I
my
noticed.
head's hurting a little bit.
You like to let your phone die.
Yeah, I wouldn't have to wear these if I charged it up, but I hadn't charged my phone today, so I had to do this.
All right, so time for our closing. All right, so our next show is going to be Thursday. We don't know how long it's going to be for, but we're probably going to start, I hope, around like maybe 6:45-ish. We'll see. The draft starts at about 7. We don't know. But yeah, that's going to be basically our draft show. That's what that show is going to be all about. It's going to be all about the draft. Hopefully it doesn't take us all night because that would not be fun.
Can't talk for 4 hours. Can I do it?
No. Heck no. But yeah, that's mostly what it's going to be. If we realize like it's going to take a lot longer than we expected, we'll cut it off. But that'll be fun, a fun show on Thursday for sure. And then we got last dance on next Sunday, and then rebroadcasts continue this week. We got one tomorrow, and then we might reschedule one on Friday. I don't know what we have Friday, but we might reschedule that one just because of the draft, and maybe we'll do another show Friday. We'll see. We don't know.
Yeah, first round we'll definitely do. I say maybe let's do the second round just for the Bears purposes.
Yep.
Yeah. Solely dedicated to the Bears.
Yeah. We'll figure it out, but we're definitely gonna do something Thursday, and then we'll figure it out after.
Awesome.
So yeah, oh jeez, my face hurts. Someone get me a hot towel, please.
All right, man. Great job.
All right. Stay safe, everyone. Listen to doctors. Only listen to people that listen to doctors.
And listen to us. That's the most important thing.
Listen to us, more importantly.
We're knowledgeable in sports right now. You can trust us.
Unbelievably. I can't believe it. Oh, yeah. And now you have learned how to eat a hamburger.
Yes.
We have learned something today. Look at us.
Awesome, man. See you.
Peace out.
Bye-bye. Oh, you tripping. I'm out of here anyway. Peace out.